Greetings and good morning. This is Claudia Manchanda, radical herbalist, here in a graveyard up the road from me between Hampstead and Frognall, and it's called the Hampstead Parish Church graveyard, and I think it was purchased in 1811, even though I think some of the graves are older. And the herb I'm doing today is wood avens, and I've come here because I always notice it when I come here, and as a herbalist it's a herb that I didn't learn about at university, and I don't understand why. It's just like we're not all raving about this herb because it's such a fantastic medicine. So here we have it. Hold on quickly, let me show you around. Let me just turn this around. So here we have the flower, and it's got the 5 petals that are archetype of the rose family, and like other Jupiter herbs, this herb is particularly associated with religiosity, and the 5 petals are linked to the 5 wounds of Christ when Christ was crucified, and the three lobed leaves that are serrated are associated with the Holy Trinity, and Trinities are often associated with the many aspects of medicine like mind, body, spirit, and alchemy, the different states of a plant. And here is a strawberry leaf to compare it, and you can see it's, you know, quite similar, but as you go up the root, the stem, you can see there are these baby 2 leaves opposite each other. And another distinguishing feature of the plant further on, when it's more mature, are these burrs. And these burrs get dried out and they can stick on the fur of rabbits, foxes, rats, mice. What else? Cats. In this graveyard, there's often cats that wander around. And the herb is also called colewort or herb Bennet, and it's also called St. Benedict's herb. And I need to research that more, because St. Benedict was a black African man whose parents were enslaved and kidnapped to Sicily from Africa. I don't know which part, so that's something worth researching. So the botanical name of the herb is Geum urbatum, and Geum comes from the word geno, which means agreeable, and that refers to the sort of safety and nutrition of the herb, and urbatum to growing in cities. So I think that makes it sort of very linked to humans and humanity. And the avens comes from the word avencia, which means a kind of clover, and you know that, you know, clovers have 3 leaves, and it hybridizes with other geums like Geum rivale, which is water avens. But what's specific about this plant is that it is very aromatic, particularly the roots, and the aroma and taste is of clove, and the oil in the root has high amounts of something called eugenol and cis-methanol, and those oils are associated with being antispasmodic and pain relieving. And you know that cloves are used to for pains in your teeth, this herb is used in the same way, the root of the herb, because it has the same oils as clove. So this herb's also used by foragers, and the young leaves can be eaten in salads, and I was going to pick one to taste, and the older leaves can be used to cook like a vegetable. So it probably would have been one of the traditional vegetables cooked in stews, and it would have given it a nice clovey, cinnamony flavour, especially if the root was added. I would imagine it would taste really delicious in desserts and porridges too. So the plant contains tannins, flavonoids, resins, and it's slightly bitter. And it's traditionally used for diarrhea, for spasms, for pain relief, for hemorrhoids. It's sweet, pungent, astringent, styptic, antiseptic and aromatic. And sweet herbs are moistening, and so it must have a balance in it because it's also astringent. So moistening herbs help when you have dry mucous membranes, or if you're constipated, or if you have dry eyes. But styptic and astringent herbs dry up seeping mucous membranes and blood. It's also antiseptic. It can be used as a decoction, in a tea, and as a tincture. And Culpeper talked about it in wine, and I'll read a little bit from his herbal in a while. Traditionally, the herb has been used with agrimony and potentilla for ague, which was the fevers in malaria. What's really interesting about this herb is that it can be used as a sort of spice, and I read in a book by Julie Brunton Seal and Matthew Seal a recipe for I call it white people's chai, but it's like a European chai, and the wood avens is the cloves, Alexander seeds is the black pepper, common hogweed ripe seeds is the cinnamon, and then they add ginger, which is just like, yeah, ginger. So while I'm sitting here with the wood avens, I thought I'd read from Nicolas Culpeper's Herbal. I actually can't see if I'm filming myself, so I hope I am. Description. The ordinary avens have many long, rough, dark green winged leaves rising from the root, every one made of many leaves on each side of the middle rib. The largest three thereof grow at the end, and are snipped or dented around the edges, the others being small pieces, sometimes 2, sometimes 4, standing on each side of the middle rib underneath them, among which do rise up divers, rough or hairy stalks about 2 feet high, branching forth with the leaves at every joint, not so long as below, but almost as much cut in on the edges, some into 3 parts, some into more. On the tops of the branches stand small, pale yellow flowers consisting of 5 leaves, like the flowers of cinquefoil, but large in the middle thereof, and stand a small green herb, which when flower is fallen grows into round, being made of long green purplish seeds. Like grains, which will stick upon your clothes. The root consists of many brownish stings or fibres, smelling somewhat unto cloves, especially those which grow in the higher, hotter, drier grounds, and in the free, clean air. They grow in wild places under hedge sides and by the pathways in fields, yet they rather delight to grow in shadowy than sunny places. They flower in May or June for the most part, and their seed is ripe in July. It is governed by Jupiter, and that give hopes of a wholesome, healthful herb. It is good for diseases of the chest or breast, for pains, for stitches in the side, and to expel the crude and raw humours from the belly and stomach by sweet savour and warming quality. It dissolves the inward congealed blood happening by falls or bruises, and the spitting of blood, if the roots, either green or dry, be boiled in wine and drank, as also all manner of inward wounds or outward, if washed and bathed therewith. The decoction also being drank comforts the heart and strengthens the stomach and a cold brain, and therefore is good in the springtime to open up the obstructions of the liver, and helps the wind colic. It also helps those that have fluxes or a bursten or have rupture. It takes away spots and marks in the face being washed therewith. The juice of the fresh root or powder of the dried root has the same effect with the decoction. The root in the springtime steeped in wine gives a delicate savour and a taste, and being drank fasting every morning comforts the heart and is a good preservative against the plague or any other poison. It helps indigestion and warms a cold stomach. It opens obstructions of the liver and spleen. It is safe. You need have no dose prescribed. It is very fit to be kept in everybody's house. Well, there you have it. It's fit to be kept in everybody's house. It is wood avens.